We're live. We're
So
live
go
right
on.
now.
Oh no! Don't worry, we have no one here.
We're live right now and loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Flagged.
No! We're
I
not
was
live yet!
referencing a Scrubs
You
quote.
said we're live.
I'm having surgery
Make
right
up your
now
mind.
and loving it. Scrubs is awesome.
I watched Scrubs through from start to finish like every 2 years.
I've done that I used to do that like every day. So
Holy shit!
nah, not really. But I would have all the episodes on shuffle. I'm pretty sure I've collectively seen the series like 15 times at least because it's just like I just watch it. I used to just watch it constantly. Now I just watch Game Grumps all the time instead.
Might I suggest watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia instead?
Oh, that's great.
I
That's a great
have
show.
seen an episode of that. Oh my god, what is?
You should
Oh
see
my
more
God.
than one episode. Like all of the episodes.
I never heard of it until the other day, or not the other day, a month or so ago. My friends, I was at like a sleepover thingy. We were watching. While we were getting ready to binge watch the new Life is Strange. Sorry, not Life is Strange. Stranger Things. We watched someone put on that, and it was kind of funny.
Kinda funny. It's so funny. So good.
The episodes we watched were alright.
So good.
So we are live.
Yay!
Thing.
We're live.
Oh.
They can hear
Live.
us. We are audible.
Well, I don't know. No,
We are doing
we're
random
audible.
things on the internet.
We are not funded by Audible.
No,
It
not
could
that.
be. Seems easy enough to be.
Audible, brought to you by, I don't know, Lab.
Have an art book read to you. Sure, the pictures are important, but what does that matter?
Wait.
Take a moment. LD's like, wait, let me figure this out.
I'll get this eventually. Let me.
One step at a time.
There we go. We're not a book.
Speak for yourself.
There you go. That's the answer. So, what do we have in store today?
Fluffy's eye stole my pen.
Well, Q Pensky stole mine.
Okay, that's fine. So today
not
we
really.
have small horses being critiqued. Welcome everyone to the 102nd stream.
Whoa. 102. That's fancy.
I know we're almost up to 104.
2 years.
We won't have a stream next week because we're allowed a break, right?
It's heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
Wait, really? Oh, crap.
Wait, wrong fandom. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Welcome Cold Trail.
No, you gotta
Puckster
account-
is there.
Oh,
You gotta
Puckster, hey
account for-
buddy.
You got to account for the future listeners.
And Hyperburner.
Oh, welcome, Hyperburner.
And welcome every pony in the future who's watching us on the video on YouTube. All two people.
Yeah, that's right. We're calling you out. Shout outs to the person.
I think I'm one of those views though. Yeah, shout out to me.
on the 2-year mark, let's pull up the statistics again for the channel.
Oh yeah, we got to do that, and we can like read it out, and it'll be boring but fun.
We can laugh at the statistics.
On our most popular video. Oh my god, it had 12 views and 4 were bots.
All right, don't you think that's a little high? 12 views.
Maybe.
Yeah, come on.
All right, so we got small horses to critique today. What's
Lots
this?
of them.
What is
Well,
this thing
some
on the
of them.
side? It's a brush selector. Oh!
What have you done?
There's a brush selector I haven't noticed before.
Oh. Well, that's great attentiveness there.
Learning about art programs.
We're already getting the fluffing going. So the first picture is going to be the top one, and it is by
Great work.
I should be a language major.
Totally.
Packed it's Omuroto. You know what? That's not an English word. So I'm gonna say patio lantern, and it's nap time rough sketch. Need help with the wings. So they've actually got some incredible critique from the Art of Doing Science, who gave them a great reference on the wings.
Yes.
In fact, I just realized they responded to that with a picture. So I'm gonna upload that picture here, and we're just gonna stamp that over here.
Perfection.
Don't know how to fluff. You know how to fluff. Come
You
on,
do, Dino.
it's in your name. Fluffy
No, it's not.
Dino, Fluffy Saurus. Oh yeah, today we have people. Alley Claw.
Oh hi, it's an alley claw.
Let me see who's down the list. We have Princess Fluffy's Eye.
Hello.
We have Stranger Source
Hello.
and me.
The Zom or aka Living Dead.
Notorious
Yeah.
B.I.G.
Uh,
I am the true one.
D-O-double-G.
This is how the stream is going today. We have lost our minds already, and we haven't even started. Oh,
We
dear
lost
us.
our minds long before we started.
Man, that pre-show we had. Well, it's not really a pre-show.
No, it was just we lost our
uh,
minds a long time ago. We
yeah.
never found them again. Well, I mean, we checked lost and found, but you know,
I think-
you gotta not hold your breath.
Personally, I think Zom's hoarding them in a bucket somewhere.
I do.
For a snack later.
Oh, that's right. He took the brains. Okay, that makes sense. Why did we not see that before?
All right, so let's talk this picture. So this is their updated wings from their previous one. The wings, I think, still need a lot of addressing because they sort of lost the wing shape. The way you've done them up reminds me more of like a pine cone rather than a wing. Who here is actually very good at wing feathering?
Allie.
This is a particularly hard
Wing pose.
position, and
I feel like it's kind of made even harder by the fact that I feel like it's draping at a way that doesn't quite make sense. Like it's folding over in one direction and then it's kind of twisting around to.
You know what it?
It's like if you try to bend your arm backwards around your torso, it just doesn't quite make sense.
You know what it
found-
makes me think of? The type of dragon where their front arms are part of their wings, and they can kind of like position their wings forward and kind of crawl with their wings, like where the bat's hands usually are.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I'm seeing. A
So
wyvern, yeah.
all right, well let's start off on the basics here then. Let's lay out the skeleton of the wings. Now you got that awesome little image going on here. I'm just gonna bring this up for all the home gamers,
The home gamers.
which is everyone here.
360 no scope that crit.
Yes, this is evil. This is a mop, and I think this is broccoli. Right, so
Right now,
bones. Sorry, I'm just showing them the picture. This is the big ass critique they have, and it very very detailedly goes over all the different shapes that you get to play with, trying to make wings. It's awesome. You should review it a few times over, just to get a good feeling of it. Because dang, is this filled with information. Wonderful, delicious, tasty information.
I think it might be the ref that Ali gave me. Yeah, I think it is. And it is very helpful. It's very useful. Super good wings. Gotta get those burps.
Now, I think a really, really great reference for you to look up to really get this position is looking up baby birds under wings. Because sometimes, the mother bird will cradle the bird underneath their
Mm.
wing, just like this picture, and that really shows how the wing kind of forms to them. And even the ponies you have here, like I'm looking at the baby birds, and it's like they're really squished up, nice and close against that warm body, cuddled in, all nice and cozy. Like I feel like we could do that, push the ponies in, and then
Mm.
make the wings. The wings actually don't
Yeah.
tend to be extended as
Mm.
much. It's mostly just like they're picking up their folded
I,
wing and
mm.
scooping them.
I will propose not so much red. Oh no, not my water lamp off the table. Not so much doing redlining, but I will try and sketch something out as a proposed sort of composition. But I just need to plug my tablet in first. So distract him quick.
Or distracting them with pictures of baby birds under wings.
Oh, that's very, very good, LD. I couldn't think of a better thing to distract people. In fact, it distracted our very own Ali right before the stream. So that's what you were doing, right? Okay, I need my actual pen. That would be helpful. Okay. So if I would do it.
Hello, Stratodraw. You are very kind. They say we're the best channel in #pony.
Aw.
Woo! Party!
It's an honor.
We're the
Truly.
best
Party every day.
around.
Yeah.
No one ain't ever gonna turn us down. Wait.
Oh no.
No!
This is terrible drawing. It works. Wait, I need to. I'm just sort of doing my own, like, how I would sort of try to work out the composition if I was doing this. Just sort of. There we go. Oops. Terrible. Okay. So I'd sort of bring them in like this, so they're all very much like more squished in. The wings sort of be all folded over them.
The little face there. Just. Squeaky.
Working on wings is very tricky, as we can see. Oh, I can't undo anymore. I can't even see where I'm going to be drawing because Strangersaurus's name is popping up over.
He's busy fluffing them.
So you could go for more of a side thing, this, or I don't know. I can't erase very easily without erasing the whole thing, so whoop-de-doo, there we go. These tools are not very nice. So it's sort of thinking about where you want the wings as well, like what sort of angle you're going for. Also, then I'm just crap at doing them, so whatever. I was doing this mostly for the composition, not the posing anyway. So just something like that, where it's like, okay, let's tighten everything up, let's bring everything in, have them nice and like fluffed right into the body. Because when you do squishy ponies, they can all squish in together. They're all soft. But it's something that I sort of learned quite early on. It was like, oh hey, let's have a picture. So since it's like nearly housewarming, let's have a Christmas tree. Okay, here's a picture, and then there's a pony over here. There's a pony over here. They're all laying down with some presents. Yeah, and there's a pony over here. Over here, there's a Pegasus flying. There's a little wing. Yay. There's one leg. That's not very good. Okay. Or we could say, hey, let's tighten this up a little bit. And say, oh, the Christmas tree. This is masterful artwork right here. It should go in the friggin' Tate Museum. Let's say, let's bring the ponies in. Here we go. It's a crappy little pony. Friendship is quick, terrible doodles. Here's the Pegasus. Yeah, so it's like this way. We brought them in, put some presents in the background. When you look at it, then everything, there's not all this space in between them, in between everything. So when it's all spaced out, it kind of just, your eyes get bored. Everything's too far away and it doesn't quite feel right. Whereas when everything's squished together, don't be afraid to overlap. Don't be afraid to push stuff in. It creates a much nicer composition. Everything feels more tidy and more cozy. So that's definitely what would benefit this picture, I think, like bringing those little ponies in, and just sort of. I mean, I do like how it looks, sort of having the wings creating this nice little canopy. It's very cute. But I'm kind of imagining more like the ponies fell asleep first, and then the mother came down like, "Oh, I'm just gonna drape my wings over them." Even then, it would still feel like it would be more cozy if they like were brought in to a tight little hug. Oh, there we go. That's a nice little birds hugging on the stream. That's cute. Obviously, my reaction will be delayed like 30 seconds, but yeah.
Bird.
And it's gone.
So that picture outlined a different way to do up the wings for this one. I kind of like it. It does change the pose of the horses, though.
I definitely do agree with having this side wing shorter like that, because looking at the way the position is, this wing is very much pushed out at a kind of weird angle given the perspective. So it is sort of thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I'm seeing. Like, something really good to do is research ideas close to what you want to draw. So right now I'm researching baby birds under wing. So I'm getting a lot of pictures of ducks or other birds, or small birds, big birds. Something I'm noticing a lot is that their wings are actually not fully extended like you have them. You don't actually have to fully extend. It's kind of like you're reaching the way a bird compared to a human is like that front tip, that round part. Like if you look at MLP, that wing style, their wings, that big round part in front, that's like their elbow. And then the wrist is the dip is damn it. I need to just draw a thing. Okay, so
It's harder to explain and harder to draw than it sounds and looks like.
so you have like joint 1, joint 2, and then the stretch of the wing. Yeah, Dino's drawn right under. So basically, you don't have to extend every part. Like if we go here, maybe just the first 2 limbs are extended, but the other one is tucked in still. I mean, it would be a different perspective. Like if I drew it in tubes, it would be. Perspective is hard, but it would be tucked, behind and back. So that's something to consider. Like you don't need to extend the wing if you're going to do it. Just play with like different movements of how the wing can settle, or it could be all tucked up and moved down. Strange Stories is doing some nice perspective-y drawings there. But yeah, play with it a lot. Look at a lot of references. I could keep posting stuff, but this is a very difficult pose, so don't feel discouraged. It's going to be hard, but you can do this.
You got this.
We got this together.
Flagged.
Not spoiled anymore.
We're free.
Well, they're still flaggable.
Oh, this is the Pony Drawing School. We're on topic. Not actually licensed by Hasbro.
Anyone have anything else to say?
Nope, not from my
I
side.
think I was
More
gonna
proof.
look at the face because I feel like there. Oh, Ali's already jumping on it.
That was.
That looks
I-
immediately better. There we
I
go.
would, just not make it as long. I know horses can have longer faces, and you can do that, but this one kind of like, if you have a ball of putty and you just kind of pinch and pull, I think we got a little bit of that going on. It's a little too thin at the ends. Like, they have some substantial, faces to them if you are going to go that horsey style. If not, I would plump it up a little bit. They have some strong bones. They have a very big skull, surprisingly, if you ever look at a horse's skull. But yeah, I'd play with that. I'd either shrink it or get yourself really looking at horse skulls if you want to get that long horsey face. Otherwise, I think, yeah, I
Gotta
got
put anime blush and everything. There we go.
it.
I would definitely work. Make sure you've like really studied the like basic MLP like show style or even better movie style. I do really like the ears you've got. Those are lovely. But like, it's always good to start at the basic, like show style, movie style, especially movie style, and like work out from that. Once you got that down, and work out from there, because it's always tempting to be like, oh, I'd rather like study from artists because I love the way these artists draw more. But those artists probably started from show style themselves, so just sort of work on that basics first. Then you can explore little features and style changes. Anyway, I haven't got anything else to say. I've lost my mouse, so that's what I'll say. There we go. There it is.
Well, that's all I got for this one.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next one?
Yes.
All right, well, speaking of mice, we have a submission from the chat.
Yay.
More arts.
Oop, gotta choose the right layer. This one's by QDP.
QDP.
Q pencil case.
Oh,
You know them.
CPC.
So it's decidedly not horse, but that's fine because freaking don't know. we're fine with not horse. We're just better at horse. So what's your question about the CPC? I feel like there's something wrong with the backpack picture. Backpack picture. Oh, this guy. Yeah. Well, it seems to be missing a hand, which is a little odd.
Yeah, I think having a hand, even just to like hold the other side, the little other strip, little something bumping there.
So the mouth shape is a little bit odd. You're giving it a bird beak for the front, which I understand it's that like cute cat look, but not quite. I don't think it's quite what you're going for, or quite what you should be going for, because giving that point to it gives it a little bit odd. A little bit of an odd look. Sorry. Complete thoughts not working here.
Womp.
This ear back here is more back than the other. This guy right here. It's gonna be moved over just a touch, like to somewhere here. If you're just to even them out. Jeez, it's adorable. Oh, it also seems to be missing one of your features that you keep adding.
Oh, the fluff. I want to see this mouse like after a shower, little bath, like maybe climbing up into a bird bath or something and swimming around, and then just being like a little, just like Flufflepuff, just like a round ball of fluff with like mouse ears. Yeah, all the Poof line song. Unless they meant Poof, that person that we're talking about in the chat left.
Yeah, that's all I've got for this one. Give it the cute little arm, exactly what Allie's done there. Trim the little weird jowl on the face, move up the ear, and I think you're done.
I would just be careful with I'm going over to the big pictures. The
Zoom it out.
side view one.
Which one?
That seems a little off and unbalanced, the middle and the side view. Something seems off about the legs. It's like not quite mousy legs. It feels like they're different from this leg to this leg. Like these are almost thicker than what you're showing in the other two. So that's just like a small detail to keep in mind. Because otherwise we're looking at like really thin but really thick sort of lines or legs. And usually mice have like those really stringy mousy paw bits.
Healthy pobbits.
I hear that is their official name.
Official mousy paw bits.
I would love if it was like if there's actually like an animal on it. It's just called nubbly things or something like that.
We just got to make one of those diagrams where we make up names for all the parts of the body.
Definitely.
The best thing I can suggest, especially for use pencil case, is just look up other people who have designed mouses. Look up, artists like, not that I'm biased, but Mouse
Mousen.
Guard is pretty great. They have a more mouse, and I know yours is much cartoony, but still, like looking at those legs and adapting from there, I think it'll be very helpful.
Plus, I doubt it's not going to be a great time looking at for fun anyway.
I know. Oh, I've been researching all these different animals lately,
Apparently,
and it's
there's
been a blast.
game. Am I wrong in understanding there's a game of it, like a dice game? Because that sounds really fun.
They made an RPG dice game
Sounds
for it.
super fun. I gotta play because I'm addicted to dice games.
But that's the only other thing I had. Anyone else have anything for Cupid's case?
No, I super love it. I mean, I would say use mouse guard, use the rescue rangers, whatever animal, like all the different like mouse movies and anything you can find in terms of style, because it's like don't like stick too much to one sort of thing. I can see a few aspects of like sort of Sonic style, like snout and things.
Oh yes,
Just
Secret of
a few
Nim.
little bits. Oh yeah, that just like all the things. Use as many different sort of references as you can, and mix and match all the different.
Fightful Goes West. That's a cute movie. Sad.
Yes, and all the different things that have all the different mousing, and
The
and
Mousins.
you can mix and match the styles and end up with say, okay, I like the muzzle on this bit, but maybe if it was a bit more like this shape, and I love the paws here, and I mean, I have an artist I followed on Patreon. They made this picture. It was just like I can't remember what the movie was called. It was one of the little mousy movies, but they'd done like a bunch of like an expression sheet. So they got the characters, and it was like very like Disney or Don Bluth looking. It's really cool. So I got it like on my wall next to my computer, and it's just like great expression reference. So there's always lots of cool stuff to find.
Does that all make sense, CPC? Those legs remind me of something that was designed for a fursuit.
I wonder what she's planning.
I know she had been researching like fursuits, so maybe it's like in her head. Maybe she wants it to be possible.
That'd be
Designed
adorable.
with fursuiting in mind.
Look, it's got an easy access port too.
Yeah, I was gonna say the zip.
You just need to find a
climb
zipper
into it.
that's
And then you're just wondering, like, I can't reach the zipper. Help!
I feel like the giant zipper is gonna look really cute though. I don't know what it is. It's like big old cute giant zipper in the back. Nice accessory.
That is something you're probably gonna have to have 3D printed.
You could probably do it with cardboard and
Yeah,
paper
you could make
mache.
like wood.
Or...
You could do it with wood or something, or like.
I wouldn't do it with wood. That might be too
No?
heavy.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. I was thinking of like sort of like a light kind of wood.
Mm-hmm. There's so many options. CPC's gonna have a blast.
No, I actually just found zippers that are stupid big. Holy cow!
Okay, there's
Just
a
share
Lexi
'em.
for everything.
Look at the
Wow.
size of that thing.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Wow, that's awesome. You could go with that.
Hello, kitty. Kitty
Hello.
wrinkle.
Yes, if anyone in the chat has anything to share that they would like critiqued, please feel free to throw it at our faces. We'll get to it as soon as we can.
We need to just have a marathon of like classic mouse movies because there's a bunch I haven't even seen.
So we
I
have
don't know
cheese.
which though.
We have cheese and watch mouse movies. Sounds good.
As long as we don't watch
Yes.
any of the Tom and Jerry movies where they talk.
Oh God, no.
All right, so this next picture is called Snowy Forest, and it's by Rainbow Shimmers. They don't have any critique yet because they submitted it 2 days ago. Sorry about that. There's some really cool stuff in here that I really like. I love the braids on the tail.
Yes, that's a nice touch.
But there is a question that comes to mind. Where is that braid going to? Because the way it's implied right now is the horse tail is this thick to start.
Yes, very, very much.
Yeah.
It sort of doesn't look like the braid goes anywhere. What I would do, if I can just mess around, what I would do is have that come from, and it'd be an easy enough fix, but just if my program will behave and let me go to where I'm trying to go on it. Nope. Okay, there we go.
So, wait, are
have
you
it
guys
come
confused
from-
why it's sitting up there, or?
Oh, that's too big. Have sort of like where you got the tail sort of splitting off like this into these sections. Just have one of these just go into the braid, and it's like, oh, here we go, and then just another one, and then you can sort of have it come in where it makes a little bit more sense. I don't know, just make it look like it's flowing from the top of the tail, if that makes sense, rather than coming out from, because it looks like it's kind of looping from behind it. I think is what LD is trying to get.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's just tied
yeah.
around.
So if we're to drag it up, you get all sorts of cute.
That's really nice how you did it, Fluffy. Like, just that nice flow from the hair. Like, you don't need to start the braid right away from the base. Have some hair, Look at how
Yeah, that's
humans
what I was
braid
trying
their
to-
hair.
Just sort of trying to figure out how to get this one to come out from under. I guess it kind of makes sense like that. Just don't want it to look too. Again, like it should flow, I think. So I don't want it to look too sudden. And that's what I love doing with tails. Is like, and you've got some nice like the way you got this sort of consistent flowing going here. That's really nice. Like that's basically what we're trying to. Well, you want to keep that going. You want to sort of make it also keep that consistency. That's really great.
So you've done very sharp feathers on this, which fine, whatever. Just for that primary, what goes across the very top lip, it's sort of like a little fluffy vest, or a little fluffy collar on the wing, made up of very fine down like feathers. I would just give it small textures to it, just to sort of show that sort of fluffiness it gets. That horn is very Last Unicorn. That's about all I have for the horse. The picture's not very dynamic.
I would say I do have something with the facial constructione. I think that the muzzle's in a bit of a weird position. So if we got the head sort of around here, the eye is fine, but then it's like the muzzle sort of comes out, like the eye is completely behind the muzzle. So like how it would be is the head would sort of come down from the mane, like the forehead, and then it would stretch out. You can have it nice and long if you want. If not, bring it a little bit in, but that's up to you. But just sort of move it all down a little bit, because even that what I just drew was a bit too high. Just sort of thinking about, because the eye's going to sort of sit just above where the muzzle is. Like there's just sort of thinking about the contours of the face, and it does help to look up both like human facial reference and like horse stuff as well as with like, I would say 3D pony stuff, but be careful just to get like the really good ones, because they're not going to be the greatest reference. It would help a little bit, but you really want like just to sort of understand actual face structure and the way the different curves and rivets sort of sit. I know I'm drawing this really badly, but there we go. So I'm trying to sort of think about how I can show the facial. Oh, I'll just sort of draw circles. So obviously the muzzle is like a thick thing, but then for the eye, you've got this like dip coming here, and it's going to be you sort of showing that with the shine on the cheek as well. And then it's like you've got the 3D off the bridge, the nose bridge. So it's just sort of understanding the way those 3D shapes flow into one another and from one another, if that makes any sense. I'm doing this very terribly, but yeah. So yeah, it's just that I felt the muzzle was a bit too high up. That's basically it. Whoop. Whoop. Nope. Get rid of that.
So the shading that's going on behind the trees, you have this very, very large, bright source of light that's coming from behind her, the moon. It's a very, very intense light source from that area. One thing to watch out while dropping the shadows, what's immediately coming off the tree will actually be a very hard and dense shadow. So you're going to get hard edges, and as it moves further away from it, it's going to soften up. The best way to demonstrate this is hold your hand, take a light, say your camera or phone, turn on its flashlight, hold your hand close to that light source, then move it further away. You'll see the shadow that it drops get softer and softer. As you move that light source further away, say towards the sun, it's going to still keep a soft bit, but whatever is immediately coming closest to the ground will actually be in focus. So what I mean by that is the root of the tree, the stump, is actually going to have a shadow that's in focus, very sharp and crisp, but as it moves further away, it'll diffuse because the light in the atmosphere will allow it to diffuse a bit, and you'll get a softer shadow.
I mean, it's the first thing you can notice about any shadow if you've ever just like sort of played with like shining light on things and looking at how the shadow casts. I used to do this to just have like a torch, and I would just have a little thing. I'd press it down against something and see how sharp the shadow was, and as I'd slowly like twist the light source so the shadow moves further away, you can see how it gets softer as it goes.
You should not hold torches against things. They are on fire, and that seems very dangerous.
How medieval are you?
Not medieval enough to use torches.
But the other thing I'd say is the more to do with the light source and everything. For one thing, the light source on the pony, actually, it seems to be pretty inconsistent because I'm looking like here you've got like the shadow in the center of the body. That's fine. But then like in other places you've got like here it looks like the light's sort of coming to the left, from the left, sorry, and in other places it sort of switches a bit, like this is sort of coming from above. The head looks like it's almost coming from like the viewpoint, if not like slightly above. But then the nose and around the face also sort of show the behind. Basically, you want the light source to be behind her. That's sort of what's going to be going on. I would have the shadow in the center of the body, and I've shown sort of how to do stuff like this on the channel before. But like when you got like behind the body, don't just select the whole thing and then like move it in a little bit because that's not going to look right. Like the shadow is going to cut over the wing and go up the body like that. So it's so you'll have the shadow like here basically. Just to sort of give an illustration. But again, look at light sources for references and everything, light and shadow. But I also think, play with it, increase the highlight on the side of the trees. I feel like it should be a colder color, like sort of a white, because you've got a very silvery light coming off of the moon. And, light bounces off objects and casts color from that object. That's something that we teach a lot. And, the moon is one giant object that light is bouncing off of. So it's going to be reflecting that silver glow. I mean, that's like, I don't have to tell you that, you think moonlight, everything's all silvery, that's obvious. So I would sort of increase that on the trees, just where the highlight is, just give it a nice silvery sheen. Drop the shadows, like LD said, maybe increase the darkness of the image, silhouette the pony a little bit more, and really like draw attention to this moon. Because, I mean, having the pony as the center of the focus of the picture is great because she's very beautiful looking. But I also think you've done an amazing job with the moon itself, and you really want to show that off and really like, oh, here's this dramatic moon in the background. You just really increase that effect by actually making it look like it's the light source. Oh yeah, and Kitty Rin Aiko in the chat says Bradley Point as well. Wherever it does look like there's sort of dips and changes in the ground, the shadows also kind of need to bend around that as well. At least that's what I think I'm seeing by these like lines here. So the shadow of the tree would sort of depends like what the ground is, but it would change, yeah. So to just sort of work out, it'd be easier to do this on the other side. Okay, so you've got ground, shadow, and it would come up. But again, that's sort of you to define how the dips and hills and stuff go. Ugh. Don't know if that makes any sense what I'm drawing here. Anyone else got anything?
No, you guys did like a great, wonderful job
We
explaining.
got this.
Flagged.
Dino will flag you every time, even though it's an amazing song and can pop us all up to draw out together. And I literally have drawn a picture of myself, Ali Clone Kipensuke, singing.
I just picture like Dino in like a lawyer get up and like a Hasbro pin just standing by, flagged.
Well, Chaos has drawn him with the flag many times, I think.
And they're all beautiful.
Like 8 times or something, I think.
All right, we got 2 more pictures from the peanut gallery.
Can it be a peanut butter gallery? I like
No.
peanut butter.
But they're both very important to Allie.
What? Peanut butter?
No.
No.
Rarity! I should have zoomed out of my canvas so I could see it. Need more Rarity. Did I tell you all we have a mini tree dedicated to Rary Jack?
Yes, it's a Rary Jack shrine.
I need that tree. Pictures. Come on, get on this.
After the stream, I'll treat y'all to pictures of our tiny little Rary Jack tree.
Alright, so the first one submitted to us was the bottom right-hand corner, I believe.
Yeah.
Right hand? Gotcha.
Loving the fashion horse.
I believe that was submitted by a person who has a face. Cold Trail? Maybe? Yes?
I believe so, yes.
Yes,
This is
Cold
Cold
Trail
on the
is
right.
the Rarity on the right, yes.
Alright. So
I was thinking about how the ear goes here.
Let's
There you
talk
go, first
fluffy
one.
rarity.
It is very fluffy. I feel like the ear kind of comes out at a bit of an odd joint. It looks like it should be joined at the bottom here. That's typically the sort of shape it has, but this is sort of joined throughout most of the side of the ear, up this part. So it's like, I don't know, that and the fact that it's like too close to the eye. Where's my eraser gone? Oh, it's too small now. So it's, I don't know, something does look odd about it. I would move it up and then just sort of make sure to accentuate. It comes in here, and there we go. There's the joint, and yes, fluff it as much as physically possible, because there's your ear. I just sort of feel like this part in the bottom here where it joins into the head's a little bit too much. And I was also going to say that it also doesn't match this ear, but if you move it up a bit like this, then it will. So now they're both matching. Yay!
Yay!
I'm gonna work on this cheek fluff. There we go. This level of fluff is a nice attempt, but will not do. It must be 3 times as fluffy.
So the tail here, your shape is wonderful for the tail. I would just
Yes.
tuck it further behind her because the way her body's turned to us, we're going to get overlapping prompt, or we're going to get some overlap on that tail, and giving that overlap really helps kick the picture up the next notch.
I mean, I do like how the way it is looks quite nice, but it is very much going out to the side. Maybe try and move it a little bit, but you can also try and sort of increase the shape and really like bring that over to like just make it bigger, just to try and show that nice like voluminous verity tail, and to give yourself a chance to do that overlap. If you don't want to change the shape too much, I mean, because if you were to bring it right over and sort of have it quite sort of dully put behind the body, it can look a little bit sort of not quite as extravagant as what you're trying to go for, I think. It's up to you to play around with that. Just try and squish it a bit to the right.
Squishy, squishy, real good.
I gotta give you major points right here. Right. How about if I do it with a color that can be seen? Look at this. They split the hair with the ear.
Love it.
Right.
That's lovely. That's really good.
So many points. Just take them. Take them all.
Take the zombie merit points. Free for one, get out of eating your brain card.
Sometimes, like when I'm interpreting Rarity's hair for like the ear going through, it's like I see the swoop. Like I'm just drawing the basic shape, kind of that mohawk she got going on. But usually you see like a split with her hair, like right on here, kind of like how they have up here, but it like splits all the way down to the base where it connects. And like I picture that being the split where her ear comes out on the other side. It's just my personal how I figure hair.
That's actually something that is easy to sort of like struggle with, especially. I mean, literally today I was trying to draw something, and I was drawing a flood about actually, and it had the same sort of like, oh, fringe goes up, goes down. You've got this inside of the mane here, but the ear, where does it come from? Where does it go? Because it's like trying to
Catting at you.
literally though, because it's like it should be there, but then it's either you split it through the hair and make it show up on the other side, or just make it show up on the other side, which is what they do in show style if it shows at all. They typically will have the fringe sort of over the ear, but that's really nice how you've tried to interpret it like that. That's very good.
I like it.
This drawing belongs to Cold Trails, Strato Draw. Sorry, the message just came into the chat, but there's like a 30-second delay probably.
Ah.
I imagine. So I answered pretty much as soon as I saw it flash up, but then they'll think that we're ignoring.
We swear we don't ignore you. Well,
unless we're just being unattentive.
Chat's hard sometimes.
How do we feel about the shadow placement?
Shadow placement? So I'm gonna assume the light source. I'm just gonna squiggle a blob there. That's like about where the light source is.
So in front of her to above.
Yeah, a bit above and in front.
Yeah.
I think it feels nice. I'm almost willing to say you could probably go lighter on the shadows, especially since you have some very light outlines. So it kind of feels like your outlines are becoming rim lights. That's just I guess more of a personal thing. People are posting great stuff in chat, in our Discord chat.
Flagged.
What are you flagging now?
But otherwise, I mean, I think this is nice cell shading. I really do. I don't see any major problems.
Yeah.
I just would.
I just think it sort of contests with the shadow on the ground a little bit, just because of the way it's placed.
Yeah. I would even just make that cell shaded too. Don't try to fuzz it out. You got a theme
It's only
going.
because it's easier to figure out the shape when you do it that way.
That
but
too.
Definitely challenge yourself and just try to, even if you just attempt it and then blur it anyway, but like just give yourself an attempt to try and get the cell shading in of the pony, and you can be like loose with it as well. But I know it can be challenging. But with cell shading, the point is you're trying to sort of make the brain imagine the shape, even though realistically the way it's like straight from light to dark would indicate that it's a completely sharp edge. We don't see that when we look at it because we're just imagining the way the curve goes. And cell shading it sounds like it's a very tricky thing. You're trying to make an implication of like 3D shape with 2D shadow, but you've done a good job with it. So yeah. but combining it with the ground, the blurred shadow just kind of throws off slightly. And oh, okay, yes, I think that's about all I have on it. Oh, except actually, I think the cutie mark, well, fine, is a little bit inconsistent in how the diamonds look a bit too bent in different ways, but also they look very far apart, and it's all very small in a small little area. I would definitely drag it up, get those diamonds bigger, get them placed more accurately together. I would definitely make sure you use actual reference of the cutie mark for that. I mean, it looks like you have. Actually, I'm not sure if you just pasted them in or anything, because I definitely don't remember them being that far away from each other. But either way, I think big on the flank is the way to go. That's just me. I always preferred the bigger cutie marks. It just looks like it kind of makes more sense. It looks nicer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I'm
Cold
happy that
Trail,
doing the cutie mark Crusaders one's bigger.
Cold Trail asked a nice big question. I'd repeat
Yes.
it, but it's a nice big question.
Oh.
Basically, so there is no right or wrong way. Usually, when I run into a problem like this, like rarity, a lot of people are actually. It's funny. You don't see a lot of bigger artists draw rarity. Like you see people dedicated to drawing rarity, but usually if they're like a bigger artist and they don't draw, they draw a lot of art, but you don't see much rarity from them. It's because white is intimidating. Her white coat, it's like off white.
Yes.
It's very intimidating for art because she, no matter where she is, will be the focal point unless you do some painting magic. Because
Mm-hmm.
our eyes are drawn to white, and well, first red, but then white, and then any
And
bright
also the
color.
highlighting the.
Mm-hmm. But as for the outlines, experiment. See what makes it work for the picture you're working on currently. Try different things, different colors.
Mm.
I highly suggest staying away from grays or blacks
And
on her
yeah.
because it kind of dulls her out. Her coat, actually, if you color pick it, it's in the blue. It's like a blue gray. So using
Yeah.
a lot of blue cold tones will really make her pop. I've also seen stuff where if you want to add light, people suggest a very light pink to kind of give some brightness, some like, to her coat. That pop pinks and blues will be a very nice
Yeah.
contrast as well.
Mm.
It's with her, it's like you make her work with the environment she's working in, and even if that's like a transparent environment, you experiment and see what feels. Sometimes art is about what feels and looks right to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be defined by a rule or, a theory, or, it doesn't have to be like, well, the show does her this color, coded number, but I don't like the way the show makes it look in my painting, so I'm going to try something different. So, like, that kind of approach. I know it's like wishy-washy, but some things in art you really do have to trust yourself sometimes. You've learned a lot. You study a lot. Usually when you art, you draw a lot, you study a lot, you see a lot of pictures, and just by looking at pictures, uh it'll help you. You'll learn without even knowing. You study, you see what you like and what you're naturally drawn to. Woo rant. But yeah, that's my take on their question. Hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, that's very good. I will say as well, I know the show style will typically use just one outline for each of the body shape, and of course the vectors. So they have to do all sorts of crazy stuff to make the outlines cross over right and stuff, in animation no less. But don't be afraid to change it where there's shadow. Like I would go through and just I'm assuming you've got the outline at least on a separate layer of its own, if not on separate layers of each part of the outline, which would be the best thing to do. But whether you use like a clipping layer or whether you just color the actual outline, either way, get on that layer, opacity lock, whatever, and just go through where there's shadow. Just get the line color you're using and just darken it so that it's darker than the shadow, especially on the body here. Just get something that is kind of. Hold on, if I color pick, I can kind of maybe give you an example. Let me just get into position. How do I cut there? Oh, there we go. Color pick. So if I was sort of experimenting, okay, oh yeah, there we go. That's all right. That's sufficiently darker than the shadow. maybe a little bit too much though. So let's make it a little bit lighter because you want it to be visible. You want to keep that consistency, and basically, it's like the shadow is taking the color on the body from the white down to this gray, but the outline, which is like, I would say darken the outline anyway because it's very close to her body. But then when that hits the shadow, your mind's kind of broken a bit because it's not being affected by the shadow, which is what I would personally change because then it sort of helps things follow through a little bit. You're always going to have bits like this, like, oh, this color is now lighter than the purple of the hair, but well, at least you've sort of got it accounting for the shadow. And I wouldn't go in and then change it based on just where it's hitting the purple, because then that's going to lead you into all kinds of problems. So don't worry about that too much. Just think about maybe trying out changing the outline where the shadow is. That's all I was going to say. If not, then just if you do really want to just use one color, then choose something that's darker than the shadowed areas. That's typically what I do.
Horse. Right, is that all we got for this rarity?
Yeah, I think so.
All
Unless
right.
there's any more questions.
Also, just to reiterate, the fluffing on the picture is not us saying you have to do it this way. It's just
No.
everything.
Though I
like
will suggest, I don't know if anyone else has said it, but since you have fluff on the ears, cheeks, and chest, I would give some fluff to other parts of the body, like
yeah, like you
the
don't have to
back
do
of the leg.
the feathering on the hooves, but that would be a nice thing to experiment with. And there are all sorts of different ways to do that as well.
Totally. Have
Like
fun
I
with it.
think it's Strange who drew those, but they're sort of very floofed out, like they're sort of like a puffy bell bottom fluff, and they're
Fetlocks are
quite nice. But you can
cute.
do it different ways as well. You can have it sort of longer. You can have it more like it's branching out from the body.
I like seeing Rarity drawn as a unicorn with the fluffy fetlocks and like unicorn
Yes,
tail, like
yeah,
traditional
that's
unicorn
always.
tail.
She makes a good traditional unicorn. Yeah,
She really does. She's
Yeah.
so pretty.
I think Twilight does as well. Actually, I quite
Yeah.
like that because
I know,
Twilight's mane is such an actual. It just looks
like a
like a
horse's
very
mane.
typical mane. Yeah,
Yeah.
like especially the back part. I think she's like pony number one since she's like
For
the
the next
first.
generation of pony, I vote that all unicorns are drawn traditionally.
That would be cute. Good idea.
All right, on to the next
It's
rarity.
like the Hermes boots.
Anyway, we have another rarity to critique.
Yay.
Very lovely painted one.
It's very nice. There is some things I want to point out. The leg is one, but I will get to that in a minute, or someone will. Firstly, the horn. This is not a good color. I'm still on the shadow, the blue gray shadow. Okay. So the horn is kind of skewing at the wrong angle here. So you got it kind of mostly placed in the center of the head, but just get that shape in there, and it's going to be coming out more towards this sort of angle, I think. Yeah, so get the middle line up first. Okay, then we can figure it out because it looks like it's coming out towards the side. Basically, that's all I wanted to say. The ear looks very small. I would amp that up even just a little bit, just sort of more because it's smaller at the moment than it is in show style. I think show ears are like the minimum of size. I don't think you should go much smaller than that personally. That's just me. Whether you do like the little foldy ear or whether you do your sort of open ear, that's up to you. Yeah, the legs. I love how everything in this picture is very petite. Like, it's really nice. Like the horn's very thin. You've got like the really thin legs and everything, but some parts do feel a little bit maybe too much on the thin side. Like the neck feels too long, as Strangosaurus has like pointed out. I would sort of try and work that in. Say, okay, maybe the chest should break up here instead of lower down, and have that blend into the leg. And sort of work that around. Make everything blend into one another. This back leg is definitely not sitting right though. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out how it goes. It's a difficult pose. Very, very odd position to try and work out. almost feels like it's coming out like this, bent like that's a knee, and then it's like bending back. But I know it's not what you're trying to do. I don't know. Or maybe the thigh should come up higher. I don't know. You all are welcome to give me a hand here if you have input.
Sorry, had to sign out to work real quick and look at a job.
Oh.
How dare you?
Why is it failing? It just sucks so much.
I was just taking care of something really quick.
Taking care of business.
Okay, so I have to say I really like the colors you're using for Rarity. Actually see that pink in there. I would maybe try to get more blue into the shadows because they feel really dark comparatively, and maybe tone down the pink as well because the pink kind of is taking over her tone.
I'm struggling a lot with this leg. Help.
Oh no. This is one of those situations where it's like a horse can't do that. So
Yes. So it's like you're breaking the anatomy, and sometimes that's fine, but then it's like then you're on your own trying to figure it out.
You break it, you buy it, Fluffy.
Just I don't want to break it too much because of the pose of where the leg's sitting. I don't want to like push it too far out of the way that it doesn't make sense anymore. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, but I completely agree.
Bent the leg around on the outside instead. Change the pose a little bit. I don't know. That's not very nice.
I would almost with a pose like this, I would almost give her more of an anthro body, just because you can definitely tell this feels like a very human pose.
Maybe okay, I'm gonna try something because it's my problem with this is the way I'm trying to fix it. It's making it look like it's kind of at the wrong angle in the bed. What I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna I have the thigh come in here, and then have this leg bend under this one, just better than how I've drawn it. So you have the legs like crossing over one another like this. That is a way that it kind of doesn't break the horse anatomy too much. I've just not drawn it very well, but I hope it gives you an idea anyway. Because that way you got the nice sort of like sitting on the bed position. You can bring this leg down a little bit and have it on the mattress, and look at this, much more natural position now. She looks like she's much more comfortable. She's not leaning on her own thigh. And her, again, I draw it kind of badly, but you can get the idea.
I kind of I went ahead and just kind of like drew my own interpretation of how you could keep that leg out to the side. I looked up pictures of dogs sitting because dogs' thighs are very like flexible in that like they can go outward. They don't just go like up and down. They kind of like flop out like wings sometimes, just because they're very flexible, these puppers. But something that could be something to look at, different animals that have more flexible limbs, because like I said, sometimes we have to adapt. Like you can look at a pony artist. Sometimes they use cats, pure cat references, and draw ponies like cats, just because of the way you can get the pony to pose and look with cat references. And yeah, it's pony. So it's always that game of like find the species you can blend ponies with, all that kind of fun research. But I would let yourself experiment. Really look for those references, because I do think this is
Clearly
beautifully
we were struggling
painted.
as well.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you for having trouble with the leg and everything.
Mm-hmm. I really think the painting is beautiful. I think what really needs work is the anatomy, because like we've mentioned before, and the other thing too, the head is a bit long. It's more of an oval than an actual circle. So that's just a nice little smush that down. Really think about for your next piece, just like the thing you should really focus on is getting your references, focusing on anatomy and proportion. Those are going to make your work just like blossom, because this painting, like I said, I love the colors, I love how you painted it. I'm really digging you have soft shadows and hard shadows. That's always nice to see. I think the next goal, definitely getting that anatomy under your belt, getting that proportions, and using all those refs.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, to keep Pence case as well, like crossing refs over and like trying parts of different things rather than just focusing solely on one reference.
Totally. I gather sometimes when I'm working on a pose that's really hard, I'll gather like 20 to 30 references, human, animal, and otherwise. Don't be afraid of references. Usually when you don't know what you're doing or don't know what to do in a picture, the reference holds your answer.
Yeah.
Yay!
References are magic.
Yay, references.
References of friendship.
Yay! All right. So, any further questions on this one?
Oh, that's a very nice drawing there. Strange and Alley Claw
Stranger Claw.
combo.
Oh
Combo
yeah.
attack.
What was it?
Stranger Claw
DJ
combo.
DJ Dino Claw collab. Hit the
I,
tracks.
I like Stranger Claw. That sounds like a nice like collab name.
You don't need a real pony as reference. Like I said, use different animals. There's photos all over the internet, and this is a trolley question. I just realized it very much could be. Yes, go out and buy a pony, and that's how you'll draw for the rest of your life, just staring at a pony. It won't do what you want it to do, and it'll probably kick you, but buy a pony.
'Cause I am just a pony.
Clapped.
Listen, that's
or
all
or,
original
or
for me.
you become an actual pony and just use a mirror. There we go. That's all our problems solved.
Be the pony.
You want to be. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't sing it, so we're not flagged.
Yeah.
So, any more questions?
Why do we get flagged so much?
Because
If
we
you
love
sing.
songs that we can't sing.
We're not allowed to have fun.
No!
No.
Why does the world hate us?
Because. But yeah. Any other questions / anyone else have any art they would like critiqued?
I kind of had something from like a couple of weeks ago, but I don't really want to submit it.
Then don't submit it. But
I was like, I should work on it and then submit it next week when it's in more of a figured out place.
that sounds like a plan.
Yes.
Come on. Where's my code? Oh, word sucks. Allie, fix
What
this
are you
for me.
doing?
Alright, so what you were gonna do is you're gonna get a hammer and throw it directly at the thing that's stopping you from being here with us.
Okay.
So, like, if you need to drive to your place of work, just throw a hammer through the door. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, I'm here right now. We
That's
haven't
fair.
got anything new submitted.
That's totally fair.
The difference is I'm being paid to do this.
That's always a bit of an incentive.
Don't worry, the Shadow
But
Kick.
I'm-
We're
I'm-
not gonna be here next week. It's Christmas.
They worried they were going to miss something.
Yeah, they're saying their wife is stopping them from being here next week. We won't be here either.
Yay!
Yay!
Boom.
And Kitty in Kitty. If you want something critiqued, we're happy to do it. Don't feel like you need to throw us stuff to fill time. We're here for you guys, not for us. So, if you want help, now's the time to get it.
If there's something you specifically have some questions about, then throw it at us.
Yeah. And if you have any general art questions too, like we always say, throw critique, blah blah blah. But if you just have no picture but have a question, that's awesome too. We're happy to try our best to answer.
Absolutely.
I know Christmas is coming up real quick. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Yep.
so excited. I finished wrapping all the presents that were arrived in my tree. I'm so happy about the tree.
Oh, I'm glad someone's excited anyway.
I've been wrapping. It's the most fun I've had in ages. No,
my god,
stop.
that was terrible.
All right, so Kitty does have one for us to critique. Thank you for
Yay.
posting again. I just wanted to make sure that you did want to critique because I don't think you said it. I scrolled back up and found it. Yeah, you just said yes. Cool.
I'm going crazy here.
Yeah, they just
Well,
posted in the
once
Picarto
this-
chat.
You're already crazy. Right then.
I'll be here all week for my musical rendition of.
I'm glad to hear it.
No problem.
It's a non-flagged thing.
One of our first. Every now and then it is allowed to happen.
Yep.
We have confirmation.
Alright, we got a floofy pony here. Oh, apparently I rotated canvas. Yeah, we're just gonna keep clicking buttons until it fixes itself. Alright, Kitty. No, yes, Kitty. It was Kitty. Do you have any question? Biggest issue is the lack of having done enough art to have any consistency. I have a solution for that, and it's a complicated solution, and it'll take time and effort, but it will solve it. Do more art.
And it can be messy art and fun art and different art and doodles. Like people always get caught up like I need to make a finished piece. I need to make clean lines. I need to X, Y, and Z. You don't need to do anything. Just draw.
Like,
you can draw circles or cubes or.
I do love the pose you're trying to go for here, but yeah, just like draw hundreds of things. One day you'll draw something in this exact pose, or like just redraw the picture entirely, and you'll be like so much better if you just draw like 100 pictures between then, even just like 100 doodles of ponies and other creatures.
Mm-hmm.
It will help you so much.
Also, I would suggest actually making it messier and using more construction lines, because I'm looking at this piece here and I see some lines you've erased and some soft lines. More construction lines, more of that under sketch. Really use that to build the body. You don't need to like
being
draw
on
the
graph,
line.
Being on graph paper doesn't count as having structure.
Because let me think. Like if I were to take like 30 seconds to try and sketch this pose out. Because that's another good exercise. Time yourself, like 30-second gestures or a minute gestures, and you just want to get, the basic shapes. Like, okay, here's my head, and I kind of want it turn to the side, sure, and then the body circle, and the body will go off screen like that, and then my legs will be there, and it's like boom, 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 here's an ear area, and there's an ear area. Like this is perfectly acceptable. This is gonna get you in tune with proportions, and like obviously if you're sketching, you can sketch really lightly. You won't have like such lines like this because like I'm using a digital program that doesn't give me very great variance of line usage.
It isn't very obvious how hard it is to draw in this program right now.
But like if I change to a darker color, then I can go back over it and be like, okay, so maybe I'll draw like a circle for my muzzle and get my muzzle in. Nice little muzzle, and fix the ears up. Just step by step. Build your pony. Feel it out.
Step, building it together.
It's like, oh, I made my body circle too big. Or too low. I can fix that. Just let yourself explore. Let it be that mess. Let yourself play with that. Be messy. It's like finger paints. It's how you're gonna figure things out better than any other way of doing things.
So suggestion, just from looking at this picture, the proportions are a wackadoodle, in a very technical sense. So I've drawn this red blob here. I would chop that entire chunk out and pull the neck onto the body, or the rest of the head onto the body, because necks in MLP really aren't that long. Unless if you're going for very, very different than standard MLP proportions. Yeah. chop that out, shrink the body a bit so we can actually start getting some of this hip, and we'll be set. We'll have the proportions back in line. Alright, I will be back. I need to phone a coworker to tell him stuff's not working.
How dare you have other obligations than ponies?
I'm not even on call. Why am I doing this?
Aw, they better be paying you extra.
Oh,
Because you're helpful. You're a very helpful zombie.
I don't believe it. No,
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that some of your sketches are messy. Let them be messy. Let that mess live. That mess is art. It's just you mess and then you refine it and it becomes your finished piece. It's like the process.
Can I? 1 second. I just need to do something. This will make it much easier. Whoa, this brush doesn't go very big.
I believe in you, brush. Do your thing.
Why can't... I'm trying to have it not go to completely 100% white out. I'm just trying to gently brush to make it easier for our lining to show up. It would help if the drawing opacity was a little bit lower.
I can see our lines perfectly well, actually.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it a little bit clearer. There we go. Because I can't draw. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, right here.
Yes, mess does show energy. Usually you get the best poses when you let yourself be messy and really find that flow. Because sometimes getting that flow is not initially about getting the proportions right. It's about just finding that flow and then adapting the proportions and anatomy to your flow. Because like if you just start with anatomy, sometimes it's just stiff. You get really stiff poses. Like I know I ran into a lot of the times I'm just like, this is stiff. There's no life. There's no action. There's no, even a pony standing is stiff. You can make that look lively by just giving some flow to your piece. Really get the idea, the energy. And like I said, like even if it's not good, and like you'd see it and you're just like, I'm not quite happy with how refined this is yet, and you've only done one refining. You can go over it again and again and again. Or you can go next to it and try to redraw it. I'm always the proponent of more drawing, so boom boom boom. Pigs or birds? I mean, I've seen so Dewdrop is saying like, have we ever seen ponies morph into pigs or birds, because we were talking about how using other animals for proportions. I mean, sometimes, like, I know some artists like to really play around with how they interpret the main six. Like, 1 or 2 artists have Pinkie Pie or Rainbow Dash be like really short and stubby ponies. So maybe you can take inspirations from pigs there. Or for birds, Pegasi. Everyone's doing the like Pegasi acting like birds. I think that's a tag on Derby.
I see a lot of them acting like cats as well, actually.
Yeah. Morph into ducks or pigs in terms of faces.
Ducks, definitely. I've seen that one. And swans.
I've seen ducks, yeah, ducks and swans. But anatomy face wise, I mean, if you're happy with that look, go for it. But if you're not wanting that, odds are you might want to look at other animals for your faces, or other interpretations of ponies from other artists and how they do their faces. Yeah. As Kitty was saying, they found that when they try to go for a clean drawing, like consciously, it won't look as good as a messy one. And I completely agree. And like that's something I see a lot of beginner artists do. They try to do step 30 when they should be doing step 1. Like they try to do the pony perfectly all in one swoop and get the lines perfect the first time. That's just not how art works. It's like you see finished artwork all the time and you think, oh, they just did one brushstroke. Well, you don't actually think it, but in your mind you're like, oh, this is what finished looks like. Why does my sketch not look finished? It's like, well, it's a sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Hello, Aaron speaking.
Oh, did he not mute his mic? Oh no. Maybe he did. Good.
And yes, BFC brings up a good point in the Discord chat. Definitely mess is the soul of the piece, but then you got to judge which part of the mess you keep and what becomes the finished piece. So there's a lot of that's another thing people run into. It's like, wow, my sketches look better than my line art, because sketches your
Yes,
mind can
it does
interpret
happen a lot.
more than line art. Line art is like, that is what the line is. In sketches, you have like 3 lines overlapping each other that, maybe in combination make the perfect curve you
Yeah,
want.
exactly. Your brain figures it out better. Line art, it's more precise, so it's not quite as forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be intimidated by that. You can still make your line art look really
Totally.
nice. It's
Absolutely.
why I mean I'm not contradicting what we've been saying this whole time, but I do like my sketches are usually quite neat. But no, messy sketches are good. But then what I think is good to do is to do a messy sketch, get everything nice and loose. If you're drawing on the computer, use a big pen. Make sure your size is nice and big, but your opacity is low, and then just like scribble out the general area where your character's going. Then erase it slightly, make your pen smaller, slightly harsher, and then go in and do it much more. Do like the actual body and actual pose, but like do it sloppily and messily, and then again rub it out slightly, make your pen smaller and harder, and then like go in and do the more refined details. I've seen people like I used to watch April's art a lot on live streams, and he just like he'll sketch things like over and over, refining and refining until he has these beautiful looking sketches, and you can see the messiness underneath them, but you can see where it's been refined. And he'll do it super vaguely. So, oh, here's the character in this sort of area, and then, oh, here's the general shape, oh, here's the actual body shape. Okay, here's the body shape and slightly better anatomy. Okay, here's the actual like clothes and items and everything, and okay, here's all the tiny little small details and chips and scratches and bits of fluff and everything, and here's those details even nicer looking and like more sharp and good, and then he'll finally do the line art, and it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. But it obviously does take a lot more time, even though somehow he still takes less time than I do. But it does really help them to like build up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth sort of thinking about the procedure and like how you want to go through jokes. You don't have to do all those stages, absolutely not. But I think if you do want to sort of go out all out with a picture, and you, especially if you're really struggling to work it out, and you are going to have a lot of details, or you're doing like a really difficult pose, like it really helps to just loosen your mind, not get yourself clamped down into a particular position, and just like you keep yourself open minded basically, and the big messy sketch helps you sort of figure things out in a bit of a nicer, as a bit of an easier way, and then you refine it once you got the basic groundwork in, so you're not trying to figure out everything at once.
Mm-hmm. Um, I know once I heard an artist give the advice that, like, your sketch should have all the information that you want in your line art. All that stuff should already be there. There should be no guessing in line art, which
Mm.
I can agree with, because I mean sometimes I adapt if I see something I want to change. Like I said, none
Yes,
of these rules are permanent. These are just kind of like
exactly. Yeah.
people's processes, and we call them rules, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes right now because it's
We can
like
see that.
guidelines. Yeah, yeah. I know you all have a camera somewhere. I know you, Zom. Um, but yeah, it's like a lot of people try to jump ahead sometimes, and it's like you want to spend your time fixing your mistakes in sketch work so that you won't see as many
Yes.
mistakes in your finished piece. Because I know a lot of people give us finished work to be critiqued, when actually the best time to get a critique, unless you want like more critique for finished polished things,
Mm.
that's also good. But a lot of the time we see people with anatomy issues or
Yeah.
just
Because
proportioning
let's
and
face it,
composition.
if you've gone through hours of doing all the line art and coloring, you don't want to be told you have to redo huge parts of that. So the
Mm-hmm.
best time is when it's sketched. And again, like Ali said, because it's easier to figure out and easier to change, and it's messy, you don't have to be as precise, and it's easier to critique as well.
Mm-hmm. And that gives you opportunity to go in
Mm.
and really apply the critique we
Yeah.
give.
But like I was saying with my, like, I sort of went on a tangent, but when I do my sketches, I tend to do them a bit more precise, because then when I do the line art, I just copy it exactly, and I don't have like, because I've either done messily and then refined it, or because I've drawn refined from the start, it's a lot easier to know exactly where the line's going. So I don't. I love that little tongue strange. Please, that needs to be in the actual picture. Oh my god.
Man.
But yeah, it's easier to figure out how to get the line out. You don't. I don't really get that. Oh, but my sketch looked nicer, like, as much anymore, because my sketches are already like kind of the same. And I tend not to deviate too much unless, like Ali said, sometimes you just need to sort of, oh, I think I should actually move this contour out a bit, like as I'm doing the lines. But I don't usually tend to deviate that much. But it's up to you which process you do, whether you do it very loosely and refine it only when you do the line art, or whether you refine the sketch perfectly first and then do the lines. It's up to you. Like, there's a balance to be found. Oops. I don't have anything else anyway. Just if you have more questions.
I just realized I was talking this entire time and
Oh
I was
no!
muted.
Oh no!
I have said so much, and I just
I'm
realized.
sorry. I wasn't talking over you. Then I've been over.
I was like, "Oh, Fluffy interrupted me. Oh no!"
Then I'm like, I never do that.
I know. I've done this like 3 times already. I feel so sad now.
I can't remember the last thing you said now, but
It's fine.
do you consciously know when you muted, or
No, I have no idea. I'm so sorry.
because you were talking a little while ago and then you stopped.
Oh well. It's fine. If anything, I just talked to myself about art, and it was a great time.
Can you give us a summary of the key points?
It's funny when I get into like it wasn't really a rant, but I probably was being too wordy. I just was going with it, and now I remember nothing.
Oh. I was gonna say I hate when it happens, and it's always like, oh, quick, what can I like glean from all the stuff that I said? Oh no, quick, don't escape my brain, come back! And I'm like grabbing all the memories before they run away.
Yeah. Oh well. It was practice for next time, that's all.
Yes. Practicing the critiquing.
All right. Is that all the art we got?
I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay then.
So just to reiterate, we will not be here next week, for it is hearths warming. Yay! Christmas presents, holly jolly times.
Holly jolly. Pony. Horse.
Y'all should listen to the My Little Pony Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
The Applejack song is solid. She does the
Pinkie Pie song. Come on.
But the Applejack one is so good. It shivers.
It is. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I can't think of the name. It's the New Year's song. All Same Time. No. It's the.
I thought you meant the Seeds of the Past song.
No. Like they actually released a Christmas album. That's like
the one from last year, or
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we are on the same album. Yeah, no, I know there is one, and I really like it. I can't remember what it's called now, but it is that the one you're talking about is really good.
Coldtail. That sounds about right.
Hold on.
It's a great song. So good.
The AJ one is Days Gone By.
Days Gone By.
That's the one.
Yeah. But the like traditional name is like Auld Lang Syne.
And Fluttershy's Silent Night, really pretty.
Are we still live, Kitty?
Yeah.
That is indeed it. Unless there's any art critique to critique. Otherwise, we just hang out in our Discord, and everyone's welcome to join. Please come in, join, be silly, talk about art. Join us.
All right. And with that, so long, and see you in 2 weeks.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa.
Binge on turkey.
And if you don't celebrate anything, I hope you enjoy this wonderful
Just take
winter
care
break.
of yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.